About every organization is busy with their advance towards becoming a digital organization. And this transition is by no means an easy one. Many organizations struggle or even fail becoming a digital organization, let alone being a digital leader. So today I'll be talking with Judith Kennis on the topic of Inventive IT to address this topic. Judith, welcome.
Thank you.
So, as said in the introduction, organizations struggle to become a digital organization.
Yeah.
How come?
Many organizations have digital transformations and they're trying to incorporate digital into their way of working, but they really transform in a siloed way. So for instance, they have an agile transformation, so they're trying to work agile, and at the same time they are trying to incorporate new technologies, but that's done separately. And then you also see that many organizations are trying to experiment and to do innovation experiments, basically. And they have difficulties in scaling innovations far beyond the experiment phase, so into production. So really connecting these kind of transformations, the agile way of working, the technology together, organizations struggle with that.
All right. So having that struggle, how can organizations overcome that struggle? How can these transformations become effective? Because right now they're kind of siloed in one area, it seems, or at least specifically to each of their own areas.
What is very effective is building a modern IT organization. We call this an inventive IT organization. And to build that, what is necessary is to really change our way of working, really change the underlying technology, set up people profiles, a new culture. Actually, basically everything needs to change. So this is really a radical transformation.
If everything needs to change, we need to start somewhere. And I kind of said that there are a few angles here. There is, at least from what I gather, the operating model or way of work angle. Could you start there?
We already saw quite some agile transformations, organizations moving towards agile.
Right.
And then next level, you saw organizations moving to DevOps teams where development and operations is done by the same team. And now the next move that we actually see is organizing around digital products, product-centric organizations, as we call them. And this really means that a team is responsible for a single product, where they end-to-end responsible, where they are able to develop this product that really delivers value to the business. So it's not a project anymore with a start and an end. No, it's really a product that is continually evolving and adapting to the needs of the organization.
Right. And that's the operating model side of things. But on the technology side itself, there also need to be changes significantly.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, in order to facilitate for this product-centric organization, teams should be able to autonomously work on their product. And in order to do that, we really need to decouple the IT landscape. We really should have smaller functional components that work together instead of a highly integrated, all kinds of connections between applications. Because what happens then is, if you change something here, although you do it agile, something might change here which you've not foreseen. And then it's really difficult to speed up and to become a really agile organization. And to add on that, I think something else that is really important is, how can you scale a solution? And it's, when you move to cloud, it will be easier to scale your solution, your product. So the move to cloud is a very important one in the context of technology.
So giving that example, for example, cloud, changing that technology per se might have beneficial outcomes on the technology side, but also it might have negative outcomes if you don't do it correctly, or if you don't integrate it correctly in the environment that it basically sits and the way people work with it. So it kind of seems that you want to transform these in parallel, right? That's inventive IT. How does that work? How do you do that transformation in parallel?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, and a very important one, because the moment you get this right, you will be able to do this radical transformation, and that really gives you the opportunity to incorporate digital really in your day-to-day business. How to do that? To me, it starts with very strong leadership. So the leadership of the organization needs to set the direction within teams, can work and can build on this transformation. And then what happens after this direction, you see that it's very important to change the way of working and the technology at the same time. Mm-hmm. As we already said, this should be connected to each other. So what is important to really align both the transformations, the way of working and technology, mm-hmm. is to steer them together. And for that, it's the best way to do this is to set up a transformation office that oversees both transformations, not for the sake of directing exactly how this transformation needs to go, but more to align that both transformations work with the same pace, at the same stuff, and that they really stay together. And in order to do that, it's very important to start small, because then you can see what works for your organization. And once you figured out what really works for your organization, try to scale it up. And then it becomes a really big transformation, inventive IT transformation.
Right. So the inventive IT transformation is a parallel transformation of the operating model and the technology.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's managed by a transformation office who coordinates both transformations that need to happen. We start small and we scale up, and this is all being managed or at least helped out by a visionary leadership that really strongly supports this. So given that inventive IT thought, if organizations are able to achieve that goal, that truly digital organization, what's at the end of the rainbow? What's the pot of gold?
Yeah. If organizations really get this working and really sees this as a process that continuously goes on and on, they are really able to speed up the development of IT services. What happens then is that you get something what we call a digital factory, where you get demand in and products out.
Right.
And if the IT department is able to really let this flow and continuously improve, then they really become a business partner. And together with the business, they can define new services for clients and gain a competitive advantage. And I think that's what every organization wants these days.
Right. I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, we want to discuss so much more about this, but we don't have the time. So if you have become interested on this topic, if you want to make your organization truly digital, if you want to know about the pitfalls and how to achieve that goal at the end of the rainbow, please do reach out to us, and we'd be happy to talk to you.